Where's Fielder? He's gone to the dogs.
Hello, friends. Steve Fielder here with you. It's been a month since I spoke to you through the Gone to the Dogs podcast. It's been a very relaxing in some ways and very hectic month in others. The last podcast that we did was with my brother Randy, and we had no way of knowing when we cut that podcast that Randy would go through a health challenge, one that we never want to go through. I've been through it myself. I can tell you it is no walk in the park. Randy suffered a heart attack and underwent bypass surgery with a valve replacement. He went through recovery. He is doing well, and he is back home in Virginia, recuperating, rehabbing, and all that. And we're just so thankful to the good Lord for his watchful care over Randy during this time. I know that there were about 30 days that I went to the hospital every day, at least once, sometimes twice. So I've been busy since the last time I talked to you. I wanted to do this, what will probably be the last of the Gone to the Dogs podcast, although Buddy Woodbury at W. Hunting Supply has been very gracious to tell me that I can drop a podcast whenever I feel that I want to or need to. So I appreciate Buddy very much. And kind of as a pre-roll to today's podcast, I wanted to mention something that you may not realize about W. Hunting Supply. You hunters, especially in the East, most of our we coon hunters are in the states that border the Mississippi River to the west and then move eastward across the map of the United States. That's where we do the coon hunting. And, of course, up in with our friends up in Canada as well. But I think you eastern coon hunters may be missing the boat a little bit by not taking note of all that W. Hunting Supply is doing for our sport. Buddy Woodbury out in Washington State, that's about as far west as you can get, started this W. Hunting Supply several years ago, and right away I noticed that they were really presenting the hound sports in a great way with their graphics and with their products, and pretty soon word got drifting back this way about the customer service out there, and just done a great job. And W. Hunting Supply has been the reason that the Gone to the Dogs podcast has been on the air for 231 episodes. This one will be the 232nd and will also be my personal 350th podcast. But anyway, I wanted to tell you about this VIP membership thing that W. Hunting Supply has. You can join up with them as a VIP member, and from time to time, just out of the blue, it's kind of like Christmas, you'll receive gifts in the mail. I got a box the other day from W. Hunting Supply. Thought, wow, wait a minute, I didn't think I ordered anything here recently. Open it up, and it's one of these little miniature toolboxes that has every kind of little screwdriver, bit, star type deal, socket wrenches. All this is on the mini scale, the little tiny stuff, the stuff that you can't usually find when you're trying to work on a piece of equipment, and things that you can replace, for those weird things that happen to you out there. It's got a little ratchet screwdriver with it, all kinds of little tools. And this just came to me free for being a VIP member. So what I'm urging you to do today is go online and go to dusupply.com, dusupply.com. Once again, dusupply.com. NWSupply.com. Check them out. Man, they have an awesome website. It's very user-friendly. You can get on there and find virtually anything that you want for yourself or your hounds in the line of hunting equipment. The interesting thing about Buddy, he never demanded that we do so much advertising on the podcast. And a mention of him as sponsor basically was all that he expected. But you'll learn to love Buddy Woodbury and W Hunting Supply if you go give them a try. All right. Today, I kind of am doing a little bit of promise keeping. Back before I decided to end the Gone to the Dogs podcast, I had spoken with Ed and Scott Bates of Hillsboro, Ohio, about doing a podcast, and we just didn't get it in before that final one that I did back in April. So I'm good as my word, as they say, and really am so pleased that these guys have agreed to come on with me for this very special podcast, my 350th. It's special to me, if not to anyone else. So in this podcast, we're going to be talking with Ed Bates. Everybody most likely associates Ed with the great dog Hardtime Speck that won the ACHA World Hunt. And there's quite a story there, and I'm not going to spoil it right now until I bring Ed on. His son Scott was a guy that I met when I was at PKC. He was very active in the hunts there. He just followed along in his dad's footsteps. They're a great pair of guys, a father-son team, and they've got a dog out there that's making a lot of noise right now. So, without further ado, let's talk with Scott Bates and his famous dad, Ed Bates. Man, do I have the dynamic duo for the Gone to the Dog podcast today. I am very surprised that I haven't talked to these two guys on my podcast before. Two guys that I've known for a long, long time, one a little bit longer than the other. But I'm just so happy today to have Ed Bates and his son Scott Bates from Hillsboro, Ohio. Have I got that right? Is it Hillsboro where you guys live?
We're about 4 miles out of Hillsboro. My address is New Vienna.
New Vienna, that's right, yes. Boy. I remember seeing that in the ads over the years. Yeah, and that's Ed Bates, and Scott is the younger, more handsome one of the pair.
Look out now! Look out!
Would you take that?
I'll take anything you got to give.
They tell me all the time that I've got a great face for radio.
I've witnessed it firsthand. You could have done a little bit of news commercials, but that radio may be your way to go.
That's right, boy. It ain't pretty, that's for sure. Hey, fellas, it's so good to have you on today, and we're just going to take some time and kick back a little bit and talk about the old and the new and everything in between. Ed Bates is certainly a name that is a legend in the coon hunting sport. If you were around back in the 60s, have I got that part right? Maybe 70s?
60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yes. This guy was, he was flat out going at it. And Ed, I'll kid you a little bit. I can remember so many meetings for the English Association. And, of course, my boss, Fred Miller, you know how stubborn Fred was.
Oh, yes.
Well, I think Ed Bates was sometimes just as stubborn when it came to talking about English dogs.
Absolutely.
Boy, we had some interesting meetings back in
Yes, we
those
did.
days. Scott, were you old enough to remember any of that?
Oh, I remember when he was English president, and yeah, I could tell there was mutual respect for him and Fred, but I could tell
Yeah.
there was also a little who's in charge around here going
That's
on.
exactly right. And yes, indeed. I would say that you probably caused Fred a little bit of heartburn from time to time, but it was all
I don't
good.
know if I don't know if I did or not, but I sure tried.
You tried, didn't you? Yeah, yeah. Well, anytime you have two people of conviction, you are absolutely 100% dyed-in-the-wool English man, promoting the breed, promoting your stud dogs and all that stuff. Fred, on the other hand, was 100% promoting UKC,
Right.
trying to put it forward. And in his honor, I will say he did a great job with the registry down through the years. As a leader, may not have made everybody happy. I know he certainly did not. But
He was a professional. He was a pro.
Yeah, oh yeah. He was a businessman. Yeah. Well, Ed, let's talk about you, since you're the elder member of this group, and we wouldn't even have Scott here to talk about without you. When did all this coon hunting madness start for you?
Just about from the time I could walk. I was born down in London, Kentucky, and there was no coons.
Right.
Dad, he squirrel hunted and possum hunted, and he'd carry me on his back. Well, we came to Ohio, and I must have been about 5 years old. We came to Ohio on a Greyhound bus. Dad had got a job at General Motors, had just got back from World War II. We came to Ohio on a Greyhound bus and one suitcase. And we moved into a little old shanty down there on the river. They were some type of military homes at one time, one room. And I was about 5, I guess. And the guy next door to me, he was my mentor, and he was like a second father. I loved him. He was over there feeding his dogs, and I walked over there to the fence, and I said, are them good tree dogs? He said, what? I said, are them good tree dogs? He said, what do you know about tree dogs? And I said, not very much. and he said, you want to come over here and look at them? I said, yes, sir. And I went over there, and from that, he had 3 daughters, no sons. And he treated me just like I was one of his sons.
Now, what was his name, Ed?
Frank Childers.
Frank Childers, okay.
He owned, if my memory serves me true, he owned the first red bone night champion in the world. Strong's Red Bud.
Well, I'd have to go back and look, but I do remember the very first night champion in UKC was a red bone. So that could very well be his dog.
It could have been old Bud. Yeah. But we hunted. Man, he was a hunter. I'd walk over there to his house. We both moved, but we're still close. And I'd walk over there, and I'd go to school every day. And he'd work. He worked for General Motors, and he had a plumbing company on the side. And that guy, he didn't need any rest. I've seen him in the woods stand up and go to sleep standing. He was something.
Oh man, that's a good one to learn from.
That's
like
right.
that, right?
And Frank didn't have, he worked in the factory, and he had what I'd call shop ears. He couldn't hear real good. But we'd go to the big hunts. A 10-year-old kid tagging along, and Frank said, "Lad, when you hear my dog open, you jerk my coattail, and when you hear him treed, you call it, I'll tree him.
So you guys are the ones that started that.
I don't know, I guess.
How about that?
But I can look back on that, Steve, and think, a guy with a high-priced dog and never hesitated to make a call when I jerked that coattail.
Yeah, he trusted you. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Ah, that's a great story. Great story. Well, so that's how you got started, and then you hunted. When did you get your first dog of your own?
I was probably about 12. Now, Frank, he had hunted 5 and 6 dogs.
Yeah.
Turn them all loose at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And you might start one place and wind up 10 miles away. But I've seen him call a taxi, come and get us. I'd stay with that big pack of dogs, and he'd take a taxi and go around to the truck. But
oh my goodness! Now was this around Hillsboro there?
No, this was over around Franklin and Carlisle area, south of Dayton.
Okay. Did you have a lot of coon back then?
Not like there is now.
Yeah.
We'd tree a coon every now and then. Not every night for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one year we hunted. We hunted hard, and I believe we killed 11 coons.
Wow.
That season.
Yeah. That sounds like some of the old West Virginia days back when I grew up. Of course, I think Ohio's always had more coon than West Virginia, but
right.
Those hollows I grew up in are kind of like what you had back in London, Kentucky.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. There's a lot of coon hunters that came from eastern Kentucky and central Kentucky.
That's right.
Lots and lots of them. Well, that's great. Well, so when did you start pretty much hunting on your own, Ed? Kind of knew you were into it and what you wanted to do and so forth. When did that kind of all start for you?
Dad would take me when I was 12 or 13 years old, and me and 2 of my friends, we'd take a can of pork and beans apiece.
Yeah.
And something to drink. And we'd start at one bridge, and he'd pick us up the next morning at the other bridge,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That was the good old days. And I was I think I was about 17. I got a hold of a good English dog. Not an A-level dog like's out there today, but good C+ or B- type dog.
Yeah,
pretty good dog. And then when we got married, I was still 20, a few weeks short of 21, and Barb, she was 16 and about a month short of 17. She was still in high school.
Yeah,
and she finished up her last year of school. I had a 58 Chevy, all hopped up, and
of course she did.
Drive that 4-speed thing to school. She thought she was something now.
Oh boy, chick magnet, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right.
Right. Oh, that's great, man. That's great. Well,
she and I have been together, Steve. We've been married 62 years.
Oh, that's awesome. That is amazing.
We dated 3 years before we got married.
Well, my wife and I met when she was 15, and then we were in high school, and then we both went our separate ways. After school, I went away to college. She met a boy going to college in our town. She went to New Jersey. I went to Florida, on and on. All those years went by, and then we each found ourselves single. And thanks to Al Gore's internet, we were able to get together after 30-some years, and we've been happily married. Yeah, it's just fantastic. But that's a great story about you and Barb. It's 60, how many?
62.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I tell you what, I know Todd, you're being awful patient over there, Scott, while we're reminiscing here, and I want to hear your story too. But what year were you born, Scott?
I was born in 1966.
2 years after I got out of high school.
I faintly remember it, Steve, but not well.
Not well. Well,
one story he forgot to tell you on the when they got married is that's when he sold your dog, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up because the boss, she's sitting over here and she doesn't like to hear this.
Oh,
but hey, I was broke. She was in high school, and I sold my dog, and we went to a used furniture store and bought furniture.
I'll be.
And she always said, "You never let me forget that."
Well, now that's commitment. I'll say that for a coon hunter to sell his dog and buy furniture. Now, I don't think the great Ed Bates built his reputation on that one thing, though.
It didn't last long, and she definitely has been patient and paid the price since. I can tell you.
Oh, I'm sure. Anybody that's been married to a coon hunter for 62 years is a saint. And if you're listening, Mrs. Bates, I salute you for sure. All right.
For sure. I can back that up.
I'm sure you can. So, Scott, 66. Okay, but how old were you when you got started with I imagine the first time you ever went hunting was with your dad, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's all I ever knew. I thought that's what you done. I thought everybody worked two jobs, a regular job and a coon hunt job. Yeah, there was. I mean, by the time I was big enough to realize what was going on, Dad was already in the stud dog business, and and if anybody ever lived it and loved it, I'll give him credit. He broke me and wanted to be a stud dog guy. I've never had one and never will.
I think it takes a special breed of cat to put up with what you have to put up with to run a stud dog, especially one as nationally famous as those that your dad's had down through the years. Yeah.
There'd be people, and I have to give Mom credit. There's no better saint in the world because
that's right.
I'm telling you, there'd be people there. They'd stay a night or two. And I never heard her say a word. She'd cook breakfast and cook, and just like it was part of life. Of course, he got her when she was young enough that I don't think she knew any different either.
Train up a child in the way it shall go, and when it's old, they won't depart from it. That's what right. the book says.
One time, Steve, let me tell you this quick story.
Yeah, all stories are welcome.
We had people in constantly, and so I lined it out where I didn't have anyone coming Friday or Saturday. And I told Barb, I said, hey, we'll take off. We'll go to Cincinnati, go to a nice restaurant, go out and see a movie, get us a motel and spend the night or two down there. And I was coming home from work and pulled to the end of the road, and I looked and I saw two strange trucks sitting in my sitting in my yard. And there was 5 guys. Two guys. I couldn't imagine this, but they drove all the way from Florida, never called or nothing. Got in their truck and headed here. And the other 3 came from Louisville, Kentucky. But there was 5 guys laying in the yard and on the hoods of trucks. And I stopped in the road when I seen that and I almost cried.
I bet.
And I finally pulled on in and Barb come to the door and I looked up at her, never said a word. And she mouthed, "It's okay."
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, I had a friend up in Michigan when I first got up there, Dennis Paulson. He ran plot dogs. He may have bumped into him.
I remember Dennis.
Yeah, and he would advertise his dogs and stuff. And because he lived in Michigan, everybody wanted to come to Michigan coon hunting, you know. And she said so many mornings I got up, I couldn't get the kids ready for school for stepping over the coon hunters, laying in the floor asleep. You know?
That's right.
Well, God bless those coon hunters' wives. We should do a special podcast someday just about that for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, Scott, you and I first met at PKC, and I'm going to go back to your dad here a minute, but then I want to take that up and talk about your years. And you had a lot of success in PKC and are still having success. And but I want to talk to the man here just for a few minutes.
That's right.
Ed, I appreciate you, Scott. I really do. Ed, let's go. How did things progress into this? You being an Englishman and being so much a part of that breed.
I had Barb and I went to Kentucky, and I bought a real nice Walker female. You know, those days you had to have a first place win to make a champion. And I had won 2 first places in a row, and I drove out with a guy named Eddie Bowman. He lived down toward Cincinnati, and I drove him out, and he had this little, real small female, pretty as a picture, buddy. I mean, a tree dog out of this world. And we had a gunfight. Now, my female was about probably 4 years old. Mm-hmm. And then we got split on the last tree, and Eddie found my coon. So I picked up my 3rd win in a row with her. But we was coming down the road, and I told him, I said, Mr. Bowman, that's a nice dog you got there. He said, I believe she's going to make a good one, Ed. And I said, make one? He said, yeah. I said, how old is that dog? And he said, I forget, she was 14 or 16 months old.
Oh, man.
And I said, would you sell that dog? And he said, I don't really want to, but he said, the way I work, I probably would. And I said, what would you take for it? And he said, $500. And I said, would you give me a week to come up with the money? And he said, well, yeah. I said, I ain't got it right now, but I'll get it. So I come home, I sold fishing tackle, guns, knives, everything I had. And I called him and told him I was on my way down there. And he said, well, I kind of hate to sell her. He said, I just took her last night and won the Indiana State Championship with her.
But a deal's a deal, right?
Yeah. And he said, but he said, if I sold her, I'd probably have to have $600. And he hesitated a minute, and he said, if you want her, I'll let you have her. I said, I want her. So I went over to Dad's, and I borrowed $100. And I went down to Eddie's, and I put $100 bill in one pocket and $500 in the other, because I didn't know what I was giving for her now. And I rolled the money out there, and he just started putting in his pocket. And I said, count that. Make sure that's right. And he counted it out. He said, yep, 500, dead on it. I said, okay. The best buy I ever made in my life.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, there's Scott, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but there is an ability of people from out of the hills to be some doggone good traders. I mean, deal makers. Trump wrote The Art of the Deal. Well, man, and he's from New York, but man, I tell you, I knew guys like you, Ed, all my life growing up over there in West Virginia. Man, they could make a deal, and always this bunch of guys, they'd round up everything that remotely looked like a tree dog and head off to Kenton every year. And when they'd get back home, they'd have some of the same dogs they left with, but they'd have a pocket full of money because they always drew a little boot every trade they made.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's a great story. And so now, did you use her in your breeding program?
I did. I was over at Autobox. The first big hunt I ever went to was the U.S. Championship. It was up at Oak
Yeah.
Harbor, Ohio.
Yeah, I remember that hunt.
I've never been up, in that area. I've never been to no big hunts. And I pulled in there, and there was them big campers and stuff, and me in an old raggedy Dodge truck. And I said, man, I don't know about this. And my friend Tommy Smith, he lives down there in Florida now. He was with me. He said, "You'll win this hunt." I said, "If I win this hunt, I'll ride back home in the back of in the dog box." And I went out there and won it all with her. I mean, she was a strike dog, a track dog, a tree dog out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I just mowed them down with her.
Do you remember anything about her breeding?
Her papers were wrong.
Yeah. It'd be
when I
hard
bought
to
her-
find a good set of papers back in those days.
That's right. She went back. She was out of a blue dog named Rivers, and an English female.
Okay.
But Rivers' dad was a bobtail cur dog
Yeah.
that I heard. I never did see him. They said he was a heck of a tree dog that was stolen down in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the Tennessee lead story, how they started the Walker dogs.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. So then, did you single register her English or
No.
no?
She was. She already had papers on her when I bought her.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, I knew they wasn't right, but I kept them on her. Eddie Bowman made her a bench champion before I bought her,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a first place win on her, and I granted her out. But I took her down to. I went to Automoke, and everybody was wanting to breed the bird. They knew who she was.
Oh, yeah. I remember
I
that.
slipped around to them guys that were advertising, and I said, I'd like to take a little hunt after this is over with. Just a pleasure hunt. Would you be interested in going? They said, oh, yeah. Well, I had 7 male dogs out there.
Oh, no.
All of them advertised dogs. And one of them was a little pop-eyed, short-eared dog named Boyd's Little Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And buddy, he was getting the strikes, and Bird was taking the trees. It was just a 2-dog cast with 8 dogs out there.
Yeah.
And gradually, one by one, them guys went to catching theirs and headed back to the truck. But I took her down there and bred her to Joe.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was some kind of a cross.
Eugene have Joe at that time, didn't he?
Well, no, actually, Gene, he hunted him, but a gentleman by the name of Curry Hall, and he was a gentleman.
Yeah.
Gene called and wanted to borrow the money off of Curry, and Curry said no. This is a story that Gene and Curry both told me. Curry said, no, I won't loan you the money, Gene, because I know you won't pay me back. But he said, I'll buy him if you'll hunt him for me.
Yeah.
And Curry was old then. He was probably 80.
Mm-hmm.
And he bought him, and he kept him at his house and took care of him. And Gene hunted him, and Curry footed the bill. And he had a great big map of the United States there on his wall and had stick pins.
Mm-hmm.
All the hunts he had been to,
Wow. Yeah. And about what year was this, Ed?
That was 1967.
Okay.
No, I'm wrong. That was 1968.
Cash 169 July.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Bird, of course, was well known, and
Right.
and of course, Little Joe.
Right.
Absolutely. And all right. Well, let's. I guess we could talk for days here, but let's talk about how we got to the Hardtime Speck phase of things for you.
I was at Van Wert, Ohio, to the World Hunt, and Joe House and Scratch Waters drew out together. Two real hunters.
Yeah, I
And
miss old Scratch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they were both was carrying a good hound. And I came back in and I went over to Scratch and I said, well, who won it? Scratch, you or Joe? He said, neither one of us. I said, what do you mean? He said, there's a little old warped up, picked up dog, looked like it was about starved to death. He said, he busted our skulls, man. He said, we was out there in them cornfields beating and banging, and he was popping them up around the edges just as fast as you can go to him. So I went and looked at the board. I think he was high-scoring dog. And the guy's name on the board said Houston Carter. I didn't know him. I met him later. But Russell Wagers was there with us, and he was a friend of mine. And I told him next night, same deal. I mean, he played wipeout. And the third night, I went out there and talked to the guy, and I thought that was Houston. But he was in an old raggedy truck and had Speck tied out on a piece of rope. And that's what he was leading him with, too. And the third night, I'm pretty sure, and I may be telling you this wrong, but I believe he was high-scoring dog both nights. And third night, he no-showed. And I walked out there, and he was passed out. I don't know if he was drunk or OD'd or what the deal was. He was down for the count. He no-showed. So I was still in the hunt, and Russell, he called down there. Some way he got a hold of somebody that knew Houston's mother and told her that he had met Houston up there. And she said, you didn't meet Houston. She said, he's in prison. Well, he said he had a dog and had his name on it. And he said, well, she said, that's probably his. But that wasn't Houston. And he said, where's Houston? What prison's he in? So he got the number and he called and he got a hold of Houston. And Houston priced him. I never did even ask Russell what he gave for him. But Houston said, take that money to my mother, and I'll tell Mom where the dog's at and where the papers are at. So he went over and got him. Now, he had stylish. He got him in he got him in late October. And he had stylish banjo and Hardtime Speck down there in the same kennel.
Yeah, well, that's the name that you associate with Russell. His right. Stylish banjo, yeah.
That's right. And so Calvin, my friend Calvin Hayes had a night.
There's a great
walker,
guy.
A real guy.
Yeah.
As good as they came.
Yep.
But he had a walker female, and Russell wound up trading Speck for that walker female. I don't know if there was any cash switched hands or not. But anyway, Calvin got him in 76, and then I bought him in 77. Calvin had a good walker male dog, and he had, you could run, at that time you could alternate, run one Monday night and one Tuesday night. And he took both them dogs up there, and he come in the room over there, and he said, I got to be the sorriest handler in the world, because he said, I think I've got two as good a dogs as there is on this ground and can't even win a cast. And I had sold Hopsing that day.
Fuller's Hopsing. There's a name I remember.
Yeah. And I sold him to Clarence Bannister for $4,500. And Calvin was there and saw me sell him. And I asked him, I said, what do you take for Jake? He said, $1,500. Well, I should have bought him, too. And I said, what about the Speck dog? He said, I'd have to have $4,500 for him. I said, here's your money. Yep.
That's a handful of money right there in that day.
Back in them days, that was big money.
That was big money for sure. Absolutely. You see prices of dogs today, and I just have to shake my head. I said, I can't believe it either.
I can't believe it.
No. So you paid $4,500 for him,
I paid $4,500.
and you bought him from who?
I bought it from Calvin Hayes.
Calvin. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, exactly. Sure. Boy, the old memory's not as good as it used to be, Ed. You boys help me here.
I need help myself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. So Hardtime Speck. Now, you know, we get a lot of young people in the sport, and they're talking about this and that, and the subject always comes up about Speck making Grand Night Champion in 2 registries.
Right.
That's a story that I don't know if it's ever been repeated or ever been done.
I don't know either.
No,
I don't know either.
I don't know either. What do you know about that?
Nothing.
You don't know
I didn't
anything.
even know it.
I see. Yeah.
I know Calvin won Walker days with him. Yeah, and then they had the English World Championship.
Yeah.
All English dog. You probably remember that. He won that with him. Yeah, but he told me, he said, I'm not selling him because I don't like him. He said, I'm selling him to you, Ed, because I know you can do 10 times more with him than what I can. He said, I love that dog.
How old was he then when you bought him?
I think he must have been about a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Well, for the listeners, and I think most people know this, but there was a time back in the day when English dogs and the Walker dogs and blue tick dogs both were registered under English Coonhound.
Exactly right.
And then various people got together and said, we want to have a separate breed. We want to have a blue tick breed. We want to have a tree and walker breed. Of course, that would have been Lester Nance pretty much behind that. And so, but for a period of time, a good long period, I believe, probably 40 years or something, that you were allowed to, when you got those speckled up pups or whatever, you were allowed to transfer them back into the English breed. And I guess was the story with Speck. He was first a Walker and then an English, I believe, right?
Then he was transferred.
Yes, right.
Yeah, and he is the dog that stopped transfers.
Yeah, I remember that's probably some of the wars that you and Fred had back.
That was it, buddy. Yeah. I told him, I said, Fred, when them boys agreed to let them pull them Walker dogs and the blue tick dogs out of the breed, they reserved the right to transfer those dogs back. And Fred said, well, I'm getting so many complaints, Ed. He said, all the Walker men are complaining. Hey, it wasn't the Walker men. It was English men, the breeders. It wasn't Walker men.
Boy, I tell you, and we could do a whole podcast just on that subject, If you want to find out in your breed who your friends are, get you one that rises to the top and see how many real buddies you got then. I know that's true. That's true.
Right.
Well, talk about Speck a little bit. What kind of hound was he? He had to be a good one.
He was a good hound, a real hound. Steve, he was a quick dog. Wasn't really a first strike dog type. He was kind of a semi-dog, get open here and there.
Yeah.
But, a locating son of a buck, buddy, and have it.
Yeah.
And a beautiful, beautiful tree dog.
Do you remember, or do you have any old, back then we didn't have the pad pedigrees that tell you how many dog pups, or I don't know if that upgraded or not, but do you remember how many pups he produced?
I think he had like 1,264.
That's a lot of them. That's a lot of them.
He got cancer and died on me, but first year I didn't breed hardly any at all. There was so much controversy about him being a Walker dog, and it was being put in the magazines, and but I didn't breed very many at all. I probably bred more Walker females the first year,
Mm-hmm.
and they left here without a stud slip than I did English dogs. But once they started to see what he was by far the greatest reproducing dog I ever owned.
Yeah.
And the best dog, the very best dog, the most talented powerhouse unit that I ever hunted with in my life was Blue Cash.
No, I wanted to talk about him too.
But he did not reproduce like Speck did.
Right.
But there's a story behind that too, Steve. When I was breeding Cash and Meeks John, I didn't have any base. You know what I'm saying? To breed to.
Right.
I just basically had to breed to whatever come along. But by the time Speck got here, I had a base built for him.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, it just boom. They were outrageous.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know who coined the phrase. I've used it on a little dog that we're promoting right now, but you don't get the stud dog; you get what he produces.
Exactly. Exactly.
And he sure was a producer, that's for sure.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
But I remember, I had a dog. My buddy had a dog, Joe Tackett. His name was Hardtime Gun.
Yep.
And a gentleman from Maine, and later become a friend of mine, Ashley McDonald.
Yep.
He had a Van Sam female.
Okay.
And he come down here and he wanted to hunt with Speck. And I told him before he come, I said, I don't hunt that dog. I don't hunt him no more. I can't afford to. But I said, just what you said. I said, when you breed to him, you're not getting him. You're getting what he throws. And I said, I call about 6 guys and out of 6 different females and have them come here. Well, Joe had the gun dog. And buddy, he was a sight to behold. Quick as a cat. I've seen him. He opened on the ground good, but I've seen him run coons down the middle of the woods. Caught 2 one night on a cast. Run them down, strike them on one end of the woods, and catch them halfway in the middle of the woods before they get up a tree. But anyway, he was about 9 months old, and Ashley asked Joe, said, "Would you sell that dog?" And Big Joe, he stuck his chest out and he said, "No, I wouldn't." He said, "If I did, it'd take $2,000 to buy him." and Ashley said, "I'll take it." And so
he could have got easy twice that much for him, or 3 times maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was out of Speck over a Cash and John. God had her in fact, she's in the Hall of Fame at Little Night Champion Redbird that he had.
Well, okay, you ran, of course, Speck at stud. You ran Cash at stud. What other stud dogs down through the years?
I ran the Cash, Meeks John,
right,
Beechwood Buck, Gun,
yeah,
Hardtime Spider,
okay,
and of course Speck, yeah.
All right. Well, he was a legend, owned and hunted by a legend, so
he treated me right.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Well, these dogs basically are how other people get to know us,
That's right.
And nobody will ever, in the sport of coon hunting. That's one thing about these podcasts, guys, that I feel proud about is I get to record these stories and then they're there. I mean,
right.
Down through the generations, they can go back and listen to Ed Bates tell the story of Hardtime Speck.
Right.
And these younger hunters that are coming in, a lot of them are very interested in the history. And,
yes.
Of course, I've always been a history buff myself. Well,
I'll tell you something, Steve, that really hurts me. Of course, I'm 83 years old, But for the English breed is when they turned over the single registration program and became the X breed. English and Walkers and Blue Ticks is not an outcross. They come from the same genetic pool. If you cross a
That's
red
right.
bone on a Walker or English, yes, that's an X-bred dog.
Yeah.
But I'd give anything to see him before I die change that back.
So now you can't actually single register an English dog like we used to.
No, sir, they're X-bred.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
No, not at all.
I'm personally not a fan of the X-bred program at all because I've always kind of been a purebred guy. But people that want it, that's fine. But
Right.
I guess I really didn't realize that you can't single register a dog in as English, and I guess,
No.
yeah.
No, you sure can't.
Well, yeah, I
Now-
guess. Go ahead, Ed.
I'm getting ready to turn you over to Scott here.
Okay.
Barb says that you could put ears on a telephone pole, and I'd stand there and talk to it all night.
Ed, I know we got to let Scotty get into this conversation because he's got a big story too.
Yes, he does.
But you're kind of like me, Ed. They tell me about my family. They're from Tennessee. They say if you ask us what time it is, we'll tell you how to build a watch.
That's right.
All right. Well, you don't go away, Ed, because we might want to go back. Okay, Scott
let
May.
me lead you into Scott's.
All right, please do.
I got rid of all my dogs for personal reasons, and for many years I lived a life like a normal person.
Oh, you didn't.
I did almost.
Okay.
Almost normal.
Yeah.
But me and Barb, we traveled. We went to Hawaii a couple of times, and we went. What's that island? Yeah, went out to Vegas umpteen times. And
Yeah.
I don't know where all we went. We've been to Mexico.
Sure.
But anyway, I hung it up, and Scott called me one day, and he said, "Dad, I want you to come over here and take a look at this dog." I said, "What for?" He said, "See what you think about her." I said, "Scott, I don't want no more coon dogs. I've done that all my life, and I've lived a perfectly normal life without them. I've enjoyed it." He said, "Well, I want you to come over and go hunting." Well, I said, "I'll come and take a look, give you my opinion." But I went hunting with this female. And we got done hunting. I looked at Scott and I said, "Can we buy her?" And
he fell off the wagon, Scott.
That's right. Like an alcoholic. I went right back. But when Scott was a kid, I carried him on my back.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me, there would be no him. And if it wasn't for him, there'd be no me. Because he hasn't physically carried me on his back. But for the last 6 or 7 years, yeah, it's been him because I can't cut it.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, but we've had a wonderful, beautiful ride.
Yeah, of course you have. Yeah. Well, Scott, I first met you, I think, and I might have met you beforehand, but I believe I first met you when I went to PKC, didn't I?
That's probably where I'd seen you before here and there, but that's probably the first time we'd actually probably spoke some.
Yeah, I'd been a UKC man all those years and went to PKC, and I was a lost ball in high weeds, as Larry Meeks used to say.
At first, you were still Steve Fielder of the UKC guy.
Oh, yeah.
You got past it, but at first you were.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Those were during the good old days down the Roar. So everybody there was already family before you got there.
Absolutely. What a great story, that Aurora, Kentucky. May not have been the best coon hunting in the world, but it was the best place to go to a coon hunt in the world.
Still my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
Still my favorite. But you was once you got settled in there, it took a little bit, but you made some great strides there. You've done some good things there, Steve.
Well, I appreciate that, Scott. I certainly enjoyed it. I probably had more fun in those years at PKC than I did in my 30 3 or so years that I worked with the registries, and the PKC hunters were just a different breed, and they were hunters. They, and I've said many times, and I'm going to shut up. Went to a PKC hunt. Well, I was used to all those years of UKC guys coming in on Saturday morning, and then
I've heard you tell this story.
Yeah, really
You're
beat
exactly true. It's exactly true.
Beat me in the ground, man, with all this, I got cheated. I got this. And go to PKC. How'd you do, Scott? I got beat. Go and get a cup of coffee.
Yep.
How'd you do, Scott, tonight? Oh, got lucky.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly how it went.
It was awesome. Well, how did you? You grew up coon hunting, of course. When did you get the bug to go to the night hunts and all?
Oh, I don't remember ever not having it.
Okay.
There used to be I used to have the Full Cry magazine because
Mm-hmm.
the first hunt I won, I was 9.
No way.
Yeah.
9 years old.
Yeah, I was 9 years old. So
Wow.
I knew.
That's great.
I'd still sit here. Mom's over here trying to shoo him off here, but I could sit here and still listen to that stuff. I listened to it growing up. I'd lay on the floor and listen to it.
Sure.
I could recite it better than he can sometimes.
I grew up the same way, with my dad telling the hunting stories. And then he started taking me to plot days. And I would sit around the table and listen to those old guys, after the hunt, and all. So I know what you're saying there. All right. Well, so did you hunt your dad's dogs, I guess, at first? When did you get your first dog?
Well, the first one I really had probably was a redbird female he mentioned a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Which when I pulled Dixie's big papers out while you guys was talking, and I knew she was in there, but I see her name in this one. She's got her in the Hall of Fame she was a night champion, but a reproducer. She got in the reproducers in the Hall of Fame. She's been in the Hall of Fame for years, but she's on the papers of the Dixie dog we got now.
Well, that, of course, is one ultimately I want to get to here is talk about this female that you got. You call her the Dixie chick.
Mm-hmm.
How old is she now?
She's 9. She's about 9.5 now.
Oh, man, they get old too quick, don't they?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
She's...
and you guys got a stud dog, too.
Yeah, we got the Tennessee stud, which we've made. He's a Grand Night too, I think. So he's not been hunting much, been breeding some, and had got a young female of him now. He's doing a good job. He's doing his part.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but yeah, I had redbird, and shoot, that would have been early '80s, late '70s, early '80s. So I'm still I was born in 66, so I'm still only 14, 15 years old, but I drug her around. Of course, I'm just a kid, but I could not get a first place win with her. I don't know how many seconds and thirds, but finally did get a win on her. Then I started breeding her, and Speck had just won. Dad had won the world hunt with Speck in '79, and bred her to him. And that first litter was just put it on the map. That'd be Hardtime Gun. Calvin Hayes's Jungle Jane.
Yeah.
The Rocky dog. I see Hardtime Rocky on here. He come out of the Sally stuff.
Yeah.
Which was a litter mate to those. It's just, and I was selling them at that time. Like I said, that would have been early '80s. But I was getting $300 a piece, and I had a little book. And every time I'd breed her, I'd already have 10, as many as she could have, I'd have sold. So that's my first year of college come from redbird, actually.
How about that?
Yeah. And then actually I went to high state and was going to be a vet. I never quite made it, but I started out on that route. And then Dad put me on a job at the lumberyard, same company he worked for. So I went from there and never looked back. Now, it worked out the way it should.
Sure.
But during those times, after I got out of college, one of Dad's good friends and still a true friend of mine, we did another podcast with, I was telling you about, Kenny Bullis from Sparta, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a long time name in the breed, yeah.
he had a litter mate, Wild Woody, which had been a litter mate to Cash and him back in those 70s.
Yeah.
But he'd called Dad and want to know about. He'd bought a young dog off Leonard Hobbs. Dog ended up being named Paleface Joe.
Yeah.
And he was pretty high on him. And probably, if I was guessing, wanting to see if Dad would want to hunt him. If I was guessing the way it happened, I never did hear that. But he had then, of course, it wasn't Aloe Cash or Ladybird. So I knew Dad, Speck, so Dad wasn't going to hunt him. So then he called. Dad told him to call me, and he did. And I didn't have a whole lot at the time. I was hunting a little. I've always hunted something, but he called me, and I told him, I said, well, of course, I was used to working for Dad, that child labor type stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'd hate to guess how long it'd been at that time since he had fed or watered a dog. It had been a long time, I'll tell you that right now. Or wormed one or anything.
Oh, I heard that.
I mean, that's just...
My dad worked away during the week. He was only home on weekends, so all that fell on me for sure. And it better be done when he got home, too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I eat it. I loved it. I mean, I was a sponge.
Absolutely.
I couldn't get enough of it.
You're a true houndsman, Scott. That's the difference.
Oh, it just, I'll never get rid of it. I mean, it is what it is, but I eat it up. Every word that they said and every word he said, I want to be just like him. And unfortunately, I should say fortunately, I'm not too far off, actually, to be honest with you.
No, it's a great heritage, Scott. It really is. And I saw you guys at Autumn Oaks. Didn't get to talk to you too much, but see you out there together, man, it just made me feel great. And made me miss my dad. My dad and I were very close, and the dogs were probably the reason why we were so close,
Yeah, I think when you got a common thread there, and if you both have the same passion, it's just pretty hard. They don't get much better than that.
That's right, for sure. Well, okay. What came first, the stud dog or the chick?
We went along there, and I'd eased up, and Dad had got clear out. And you really need, and Kenny Bullis was this for me, and some other guys. But you really need a good partner. I mean, really exciting and to go somewhere. It's good to go and win, but if you're the only guy coming home that really is hopped up and you got nobody to talk to about it, it really not quite the same, to be honest with you.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, he missed part of something a while ago on the story of her, and he may have forgot it. But what really set that off was out of the blue, which me and him's never. I don't think. I mean, we've hunted dogs. I've hunted this spider dog. We've never really been true partners, though, and on a dog. But anyway, he may have forgot this part before the other part happened, but I remembered it because he told me one day. He said, "Well, I tell you what," he said, if you could find a good dog, I'd sure like for us to have a good one." And he said, and you don't need to be too slow about it, because he said, "I tell you what, I'm laying here in bed at night, and he said, I hear a train coming down the tracks, and he said, it ain't far off. So he said, you might want to find one pretty quick if you want me to get interested." But he forgot that part a while ago. But that's really that's what got me thinking, man, I got to do something here.
That's right.
I got to do something.
And it comes on quick if Ed's listening.
Oh yeah. He forgot what set that off, actually. And so anyway, I had Joe and me and Kenny. That was back in the early 90s. Actually, it was in 89 or 90, but we became best friends. He took care of me like I'm his own, and still does. A true friend. That's been 35 plus years ago. Yeah, still go down and visit with him a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went from Joe, and I won the world hunt with him in 90. I won second in 90, and I won first in 91 with him, which the world hunt thing was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Because me and Dad was the only world champion, father and sons, at that time.
How about that? I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Actually, have been the whole time up until here recently. The Burden Boys, Bobby and that bunch.
Mm-hmm.
They're the first other ones to do it. So that was in effect all the way up until
Wow,
the last
that's
5 or 6
great.
years.
Yeah, awesome.
So that was a big accomplishment for me. But then he got stole to Grand American in about 93, I think it was. Somebody stole him, never seen hide nor hair, which just took the hair out of me. But then I come over after I got straightened up a little bit and was hunting Dad's Spider dog, and actually went up second in PKC in the state that year. Never went to very many. But boy, he was just an awful nice little dog.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Now, you called him again, what?
Spider, Hardtime Spider.
Yeah.
He was just he was before his time. He was
red tick dog or blue tick dog? Red tick.
He was a red tick dog, and he went back. He was Alamo. He was a grandson of my Redbird female.
Yeah.
So that played out pretty good. And then from there, me and Kenny found a little dog, Acre and Shaking Cody, which would have been about the roar time that you're talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A little red tick dog Terrell Pennington had him, and I'd hunt with him at the pup hunt in July down there. And I mean, he got in all 3 nights down there, and I just had to have him. And we worked out a deal, and just a true coon treer. I mean, he didn't say much on the ground, but he was good enough in Aurora, Kentucky, which would have been about the time me and you met.
Yeah. I went there in 96.
Yep, that's about the right time for him. But he was good enough that I would go on Wednesday. I thought, well, I'll hunt my free entry Wednesday, and then I'll have just one entry. And that's all I'm going to need. I mean, that's the way I thought. And by golly, 4 years in a row, I either got in on Wednesday or Thursday.
That is not easy to do.
No, and if anybody knows those days, that's just how much. But in that territory where you had to have a true coon dog, you couldn't. He was that much coon dog. He was, and he fault free. But anyway, finally, the 4th year, I finally got him in the Final Four of the PKC World Hunt, and it rained so hard, and I never did hear him. We only heard the Irvin Commodore won that year.
Yeah, remembered. I was there.
You was there.
Yeah,
it rained.
Buckets.
It was the worst I've ever seen. It was bad.
Yeah, I hate hunting in the rain.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can't hear the dog. You can't shine the trees. You can't. It's just
especially after 10 nights in that country, because we know you're going to be somewhere pretty quick.
Yep.
Yep.
That'll gut your hound and the handler too.
Oh yeah, that's a shame, because he really he was very capable. If I had to do it again, he may not have, but I'd bet money that was the time I was going to on a decent any kind of situation. He was that good. He really was. He broke his leg behind the Smithman Club the next year in a cattle grate, and kind of put the squeeze to him. Man. But after he was going to had a little Walker female me and Darren Holt had called Queen. She was a winner.
I remember Darren.
I wasn't hunting her that hard. Plus, she was a Walker dog. But I don't know. We won. We won second or third in the CHKC World Hunt. She got several money hunts, but she was a really good one.
What was she out of? Do you remember?
She was out of Witch Doctor.
Okay.
She was out of Witch Doctor. She come from the Maggards, actually. So that was a nice. Every time I see Sluggo to this day, I draw him one night. He'll ask me, "Whatever happened to that old female, that Walker female you had?" She was a good one.
Everybody remembers Sluggo, Charles Payton.
Oh, I seen him.
What a great guy! I love that guy.
I seen him at the PKC World Hunt this year last couple months ago.
Yeah, the last one I went to, we had a Walker dog here, and a buddy from Florida. We took him out there, and Sluggo was cooking fish for everybody there at the World Hunt.
Oh yeah, I seen him last month or whenever the PKC World Hunt was, just here last couple months.
That's great.
He's not hunting anymore. He said he's not hunting, but
he's not. I've judged him. I don't think He was hunting a dog for JC back then. Big pretty Walker dog. Can't remember that dog's name right now, but
he won everything with him.
Oh,
Sluggers
yeah.
won everything.
Yeah. So, okay, I interrupted your story. I'm bad from that about that,
okay.
Scott. No.
From there, things got kind of slow, and that's when Dad had the railroad track issue going on. And I thought, well, he's not getting any younger, and I'm not either. I'd like to try one more too. And I hadn't really been serious for probably 10. I mean, I'd hunted hunts, but I hadn't been a real contender. So I went to the first. Greg Maynard and Scott Engel had getting pro sports started.
Okay.
And I was kind of working with them a little bit. We was talking about this and talking about that. So they had their first truck hunt. I'm pretty sure it was the very first one down at Mount Orb.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I had this old Walker female, but I wasn't serious. So I went down there and I thought, man, if I could just find a good English dog. So after they drew out, me and Joe Gross, fine fella, was standing there talking. And he looked at me and he said, "You look like you might be thinking about getting back in this thing." I said, "Well, I want to see what the boys got going on here, looking good." But I said, if I could find a good English dog, Dad thinks he would like to get it involved. I'd like to do it if I could find one. And I mean, that's the first time I'd mentioned anything to anybody about a dog. And Joe said, "I think I know where she's at." And he said, "Everybody tells me that James and Cody Crawford's little English female down there just beats the brakes off of him." And I said, "Well, get me his number somehow." So he did. I mean, that's the first time I'd mentioned it, and it just worked. The good man above set it up just like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Because I got my hands on her, and she was pretty wild. She's already Grand Night champion. Doug Terrell, she's out of Doug Terrell's Lee dog. Limited Edition Lee, which is a full brother to Larry Wilcox's Top Gun dog.
Okay.
But Lee was just, I hadn't hung with him, but I actually talked to Doug today, and I knew there was a lot of good pups out of him, but he had 91 pups. He had 18 titled pups. It was over 19%.
That's strong.
Pups.
That's strong.
Oh, yes. And Doug was everybody I talked to has always been high on him. And then the female, Dan Kingery had, which is here local too. And she actually was out of Cowie Creek Cane, which is a Walker dog.
Yeah.
Which went back to Cowie Creek Clint. Her mother on the bottom side was out of Joe's old Rowdy dog. So.
Yeah, Clint was out of Sackett Jr.
Yeah, you got that part up there. But evidently, the mother, Izzy, I think was born in 08, Dan told me. But they were able to register English out of a crossbred. So I don't know exactly how that worked at that time.
Yeah, I don't either.
Your grandfather did.
Yeah, she got in. But anyway, from there I started hunting her, and I mean,
was she already named a Dixie chick when you got her?
No, limited edition Dixie.
Oh, okay.
Which all of Doug's dogs are limited edition. The limited edition Lee. Doug actually hunted her when she was young. That was the fourth generation for him. That was all out of his females and then out of his male dog. So Doug actually had her when she was young. Dan Kingery bred. The Crawford boys started her and trained her. And then Doug got his hands on her, and he'd granted her out there that year in 18 when I got her. But they'd laid her back up. They'd laid her up. She hadn't been hunted now. So when I first got her, she was a wild animal. Actually, the first time Dad went with her, he didn't tell this part. I mean, a hunter. I'm talking about a hunter, big time. But the first drop we made before she treed several coons, we turned her loose on a little place over here. And she shot out of there right by herself. And we caught her over on 72, which is almost be close to 2 miles. Mile and a half anyway.
That's a touch wide for me.
The first turn loose we made with her, after the night was over, he said he liked her. But that first turn loose, we turned her loose, and she scattered through there and crossed, come out of the back of that, went across another road, went through another woods, and was over. We drove around, and he looked at me on that first turn. Was don't let them kids. He looked at me and said, "What in the world do you think you're going to do with that thing?" I said, "Well, I think we got, if I can get her honed in here, I think we got something. But then we turned her some other bigger spots. If you get her out in the open, she would flat go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But long story short, I really liked her. She doesn't have any. I turned her loose last night, and she was 700 in there and gave a few barks within minutes and come treat and had one. I mean, just like sounded and acted just the same.
Gotta
Nine and a
love
half
it.
years old. Oh, yeah.
She have a good
But
mouth, Scott? Or-
got a good mouth.
Yeah.
And still, I mean, I
You
won't
can
say
hear
it's
her, right?
overpowering, but it's plenty good. And
Yeah.
a good, she glues on the wood. I mean, any pictures you got over, that's how she trees.
She's a
She
pretty
don't, you know,
thing, too.
Yeah, she is. She's an athlete.
Hmm.
Me and her is we're tight as thick as can be.
That's great.
She'll listen to me if I take every tree we come off of, which I have to. I took most of. We got her in late 20. I took about most all of 20, and just me and her. I mean, getting some things the way we want them, and by the time 21 rolled around, it was mid 21. I can talk to her right now. You can ask Dad if she sees me. She's wanting to talk. She's looking at me talking. She'd be mouthing even, not even saying anything. But no, she just a bond. If I like one, I got a bond with it.
You cannot over. What's the word I want to use? You cannot over express the importance of that bond between the hound and the handler. I mean, anybody can go out here and turn a dog loose and manage to gather them up on a tree somewhere. You know, but if one really likes you and you know, and you kind of click together, man, that's a whole new ball game.
Oh yeah. Just the other night, I told Harry Eidner's hunting the young dog. We got out of stud, the young female Luna. But she treated coon, and I told him, I said, "Watch this." I got a video of her before she gets too old, but I don't have to kill her no coons or anything. She's looking at me. As soon as I go off that tree on the end of that lead, she's looking right at me as we're walking, and she's waiting for me to say something. And just as soon as I'll look down, we led away. And I said, "Watch this," and she's looking at me. She's getting frustrated with me because I'm not saying anything. And we took about 20 steps, and I said, "Good job, sis." And I mean, she flies right up her feet up on my chest, just tickled to death. That's just, I mean, we're
that's such a joy. People that don't know that or recognize that or feel that with these hounds. And, you know, I'll be the first to tell you, I was guilty many of my younger years that I really didn't understand that. But boy, as I get older, I sure have. And that's awesome. Well, let's talk about Dixie. What's some of the things she's done for you? She's won quite a bit of money, hasn't she?
She's won some. I haven't put her in a bunch of money hunts.
Okay.
I've won some. She's a PKC champion, but I don't know why. But I mean, the only major hunts really, which probably because of Dad's the only reason I went. But we enjoy going up to Mount Gilead, the TOC. I really enjoy it. And we've got our good friend Rick Twain up there.
I've known Rick for years.
He's guideless, and he's, like he says, he's probably the only guy to get somebody in the semifinals of TOC 3 times. So. Yeah. So we enjoy going to TOC. The only thing that Dixie really been to would be the TOC semifinals. Of course, we go to English Days. And we'll go to Autumn Oaks.
Right.
And then I'll usually go to the PKC World Hunt or the UKC World Zone, one or the other. But that's really about all she's ever been in. But what just happened here that me and you had talked about is I just finished her into the UKC Hall of Fame, which she's the first English female to be in the Hall of Fame.
You know, that's totally amazing to me, and I'm going to get on my stump a little bit here real quick. I saw a guy post on Facebook today that these guys that go out here and put these titles on these dogs, it's all a big joke, was basically what he was saying, And I think he was maybe a bear hunter or something. And I said, man, have you ever gone out there and tried to actually make a Grand Night champion? And then imagine making it, 5 times? Isn't that what it amounts to for the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's something like 50 cast wins, isn't it?
It's 50. Yeah, you think about it. If you can go out there and win 37, it's 5 and 8. I forget which one it is registered in night champion. But anyway, you got 13 there. Then you got 37 Grand Night. You think about going out there and winning against Grand Night champions 37 times with one dog. You're not talking about hunting a registered cast. You're talking about Grand Night champions, and you win 37 of them. It's a lot more to it than you would think. There's guys that's got them in there, and I would like to see. I don't know exactly where they're listed at. I mean, I think that's an accomplishment.
And that's one of the sad things about the demise of Coonhound Bloodlines magazine and American Cooner. You don't have a place really to see these things. I imagine they're online somewhere. If you could dig it out, briefly, Scott, when I was at AKC, we got, over the years, you mentioned early on that this first female, I think, that you were hunting, and you had a hard time getting a first place on her.
Right.
I've seen that so many times over the years, that we called the second place blues, and these dogs, they were good dogs and they were consistent winners and all, but they just couldn't get that first over the whole hunt, and that's where we started that beat the dogs you draw, that's all. Win your cast. And then because you're on the same, everything's a level playing field. You're on the same piece of territory. Those 4 dogs, they got an hour or 2 hours, whatever, right there. And the one that wins ought to be recognized. And to consistently do that, is not easy. Even one time for those 13 wins, we got, I will shameless plug, we got a little plot dog. It's a Grand Night 3 down in North Carolina, and we're going to try for the Hall of Fame.
Well, you should.
Yeah. Absolutely. But hats off to you, buddy.
That's an honor.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
For
but
sure.
No, to summarize her, we've just had from 20. 22, 23, 24, even 25. She got Lyme's pretty bad in 24. But just real quickly, I mean, she's a UKC Hall of Fame. Just finished her out there, which that was something I set out for this year. Yeah. I hadn't thought about it because she had never been running anything but the majors, and I needed 7 more this year. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, she's 9 years old, and I took her out and I hunted her one night. She hadn't been hunted in a couple months, and then I went on a roll and I won 5 in a row. Then I missed one. I made a bad call in a late round, and I quit. And then I won 2 more. So she's just even now she's been good to me.
Yeah.
She's made her UKC Hall of Fame. Like I said, she's just a PKC champion, but hadn't been to hardly any PKC.
Right.
Events.
Yeah.
She's an AKC Grand Night champion.
Good deal.
4 times. Now this is something. She's a 4-time world champion English dog in 4 different world hunts.
Oh, that's strong, man. That's strong.
21, 22, 23, 25. She was the reserve world champion down at the AKC World Hunt in 23.
Yeah.
I lost by 25 strike points. I won 2nd with her there. Now her first big claim to fame was the TOC. She was the first. Actually, there was 2 of them. Her and somebody else. We got in a TOC 3 years in a row in the TOC semifinals.
Yeah, man, that's not easy either. Well,
so that was a big.
Oh yeah.
For us.
Well, I've been watching her. I know her name comes up pretty often.
Yeah,
so.
But not been hauled around. I got in the UKC World Hunt semifinals with her one year, and I'm trying to remember what year that was.
Yeah.
Even last year, after the Limes in 24, early on. I got in the TOC semifinals early. Then I got in the Final Four of the English Days Invitational. That was in March and April. And then I knew at English that Invitational, she just went down. And then she had lines bad. So the rest of 24, and I didn't really hunt her much. I thought she was done. And I started hunting her a little bit last year. And I ended up going to ended up taking her to Autumn Oaks.
Yeah.
She was acting like herself. And then, so really, that was the first real hunt I went to with her last year. Yeah. And then I had 800, and she got in the Grand 16, and drew out.
That's not shabby, Scott. That's not shabby at all.
No, for a dog that you thought was done coming back out at 9 years old. And then I drew. She had a little. The top 16. She didn't get started good. She wasn't feeling good, but I ended up getting beat with 25. By Hoosier Daddy that went on to win it all. So she treed 2 and he treed 2.
Yeah.
And then turned around in October last year and got in the top 16 again at the World Hunt, won the World Champion English for the 4th time. So that pretty well sums her up. But I tell you, she's consistent. Steve, the word is a bond. Quite a bond there, and she don't have any flaws.
Have you bred her at all?
We tried. We bred her to stud last year. She comes in heat once a year if you're lucky, and just absolutely a bear to try to breed. So we artificially, but she's not. Like I said, she's not necessarily made maternal. She's an athlete.
Yeah.
She's a male and a female body. So may never get any pups. We may try one more time here.
Well. She doesn't owe you anything, you know.
Oh no.
Well, let's talk about the stud dog.
Yeah, we may get Dad back in on this. He's
all right. Well, tell us. We've got an hour and 18 minutes in, and that's all good. It's. I don't want to wear you boys out. But
it ain't gonna bother us.
It's all good stuff, man. So you got a stud dog now, which anybody would expect Ed Bates to have a stud dog. You know?
Yeah, he is the stud dog guy. Well, see, he's really in a place right now, like you said, he's living his best life because he don't have to hunt.
Yeah.
He don't have to feed her. But he can get on Facebook, boy. He can
I'm the worst for that. This dog we've got in North Carolina, you know, my buddy down there, God just sent him my way. That's just all there is to it.
I was going to say, you're in a similar situation.
Exactly.
You got the same job he's got.
That's right. And all I got to do is sit and blow and go here to
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Oh, tell me about stud.
I'm going to turn you back over to Dad, let him tell that story, but I just want to let you know that we may talk again here, but I really appreciate what you've done for the Coon Hunters, the podcast, and I appreciate you having us here for what might be your final podcast.
Yeah, as far as I know, it will be, Scott, but I honestly can tell you I couldn't have spent that last episode any better. I have totally enjoyed this.
Well, I hope you have.
Bring your dad on.
Okay. I'd say he's probably got something else to say. He's been sitting over here wringing his hands. Go.
Ed?
Yeah.
You've had to sit back and listen here. And
me wanting to talk so bad I couldn't stand it.
I tell you, man. Well, hey, you're back. All right, and the microphone is yours. Scott and I, we've blowed the cobwebs out of this thing here now, so you just take it over and go with it. I was wanting to talk about this Tennessee stud dog a little bit.
He's 7 years old. A gentleman by the name of Wendell Jones called me on the phone. He said, "Ed, I've got a dog down here that you need." And I said, "Well, what's she out of?" And he said, "No, it's not a she, it's a he." I said, "I don't want no male dog. You couldn't give me a male dog." And he went to talking. He was like 18 months old or something. And he said, he's not broke. And he said, "I live right down here in the foothills of the Smokies." And he said, "There's no coon down here hardly at all." And he said, I carried him to 3 PKC hunts over at Camden because they've got coons over there. And he said, I won 2 out of 3 with him. Well, I said, well, if he don't know nothing, how'd you win them caskets with him, Wendell? He said, oh, he trees coons. And I said, well, that's what we all want. He said, let me tell you what he's out of. And he's out of that Grand Night Champion Ghost dog that Nathaniel Powell's got over there in Virginia. And he's out of Hardtime Awesome.
Yeah.
He calls him Awesome Ghost, I think. But anyway, he's out of Awesome on the top. And on the bottom, he was out of the Night Champion female that was Main Street Roy.
Yeah, Stanley Nichols.
No, not yeah. Let me back up there. She was out on the bottom side. He's out of a female, a Night Champion female that went back to. There was a direct daughter out of John the Baptist.
Yeah,
he was out of Roy. That's what it was.
Okay, gotcha.
And of course, they go back to Speck a couple times. And I thought, man, and on top, he's Rocky, Hardtime Rocky through and through. I mean, double right back here and there. And he's out. His mother, I think, was that Grand Night Champion Lickity's Foot Leah that they had such good luck with. And after he told me that, I said, well, I don't know. And I said, what do you want for him? He priced him. And he said, you take hunting as long as you want. There's no set time limit. He said, I don't care if you hunt him for a year. And I said, well, we'll come and get him. So we went in. Me and Barb jumped in the truck and started down there. And I called him. I said, we're on our way, Wendell. Oh goodness, he says, it's our anniversary and we're not at home. We've rented a lodge somewhere. He said, just go down there and get him. And I said, well, there'll be somebody there and give the money to. And he said, I ain't worried about the money. I know who you are. Just get him. And I said, okay. But he is right. He is green, man.
How old was he at that time, Ed?
He was either 18 or 19 months old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, young dog.
And hadn't been hunted. He said, I went and bought him back, or went and bought him, because he said he was standing in the kennel. So we brought him up here, and I've turned him loose and seen him run over a bank. You know, when you turn him loose, and I've seen him run slap into a fence. Just about strained himself to a fence. But he's, me and Tim Perry, who's a very close friend of mine, we went hunting, and Jerry Norris lived, I don't know, probably a mile through there. And Jerry had evidently come on his back porch. He hadn't coon hunted in 30 years and had never run no hunts hardly. Just when he was a kid, entered in a few. But he drove around and seen Tim's truck. And he said, who's got that big mouth tree dog in there? Tim said, that's probably mine. He said, no, that ain't yours. I've heard yours tree there before. And Tim started laughing. He said, no, that's Ed Bates' dog. And he said, tell Ed I won't go hunting with that dog. So I called Jerry. We went hunting. And we hunted, I don't know, a dozen times together. And then I caught COVID.
Oh.
I got COVID. And my legs were like a rubber band.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I'll probably never be fit for nothing again. So I put him on the internet, priced him for $10,000. And a guy called me and said, I'll give you $8,000 for him off the chain. I said, no. If you buy him, you come and try him. I'm not selling him off the chain. You come here and hunt him. And if you like him, you can buy him for $10,000. Well, Jerry had saw that on Facebook. He called me and said, "Do you really want to sell that dog?" And I said, "No, not at all. I don't. It kills me. I'm not going to be able to hunt." And Scott's hunting Dixie, and it's too much of a burden on him. He said, "If you don't sell that dog," he said, "I'll come and get him and hunt him for you. It won't charge you a dime." And I said, "Well, come and get him, old buddy." Well, he come and got him. And buddy, he hunted him. Jerry Norris hunted the hair off of that dog, and he's actually the one that fine-tuned him and turned him in and developed that dog into what he was. Well, Scott and I owned him. We bought him in partners, but I told Jerry, I said, "It's about time for you to get your feet wet." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "We're going to town. You're going to run him." I don't know about that. I don't know the rules. I said, "You can get a scorecard and read them." And I said, "All you got to do is when you hear him bark, strike him. When you hear him tree him. That's all you need to know." Well, Jerry made him a Grand Night champion. And I told Scott, I said, Jerry's put a lot of time into that dog. He's the one that's honed him down and polished him up. Let's just give Jerry a third of him. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
And then he ran him in a few more hunts and made him a Grand Night champion too. But he hadn't been running no hunts here lately.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you think he stacks up to some of these better stud dogs you've had down through the years? Is he better? Is he worse? Not so much that, but how does he compare as far as Ed Bates's measuring stick?
He has filled the bill for us, Steve.
Yeah.
We own a pup or a female out of his oldest litter, and we didn't breed him much there to start with until people started seeing them. But they started early, and buddy, they got mouths on him.
Yeah.
And he's got that one thing that a lot of English dogs lack anymore is that good mouth.
Yeah.
He's a big loud mouth sucker, and he's throwing a good mouth on them pups.
Yeah. Now, describe him. Is he a red tick or blue tick dog?
He's a red tick dog.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. He weighs about 65 pounds, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a nice dog. Jerry never hunted him with anything, and we took him to hunt, and we drew a dog. But everybody said, and studs will stand up on, tree dog. I mean, glued to the tree. And I said, "Well, we'll find out tonight if he'll hold his ground or if he'll run." Because he just like a big old pup, always has been. Just a friendly Joe. And stud went in the tree to coon, and here this dog took off through that. I heard him going to him. And when he got there, I heard some bad language being spoke. But when we got to the tree, Stud was stretched up on the side of that tree, and that big dog was standing back. And you could have took and loaded them both in the dog box, and Stud never looked at him. He's not mean.
Yeah.
That's the only ruckus.
Well, that's that's something. I'm not going to get off on that because I've got a young dog that's just really going to make a good one.
Right.
And nighttime he's just fine, but when you put him in these field trials and water races, they've learned to lay for him. And if he just turns his head one way or the other, they go to screaming. He's face barking. And he'll beat them by 20 yards coming out of the pond, But the only way they can beat him is by disqualifying him,
Now, is that the Fever dog you got?
No, that's a pup out of Fever. Fever's not like that at all. And this dog's not aggressive. He wouldn't. We raised him in the house down here. He's just a big old teddy bear. But that's just what you get into with dogs, sometimes.
That's right.
But, Ed, this has been a pure joy to me.
Too, Steve.
One thing more, if somebody wants to breed the stud, what do they need to do?
Just call me or Scott or Jerry, and we'll get it done.
All right. Well, that's certainly good.
Let me say something in closing here, Steve.
Anything you want, buddy.
With all the hunts that I've run in and won, and the few dollars that I've made off of it, the most precious thing to me is the friends I've made.
Yes.
That's the most precious thing. I've got friends of 50-year friends or longer. I tell people, I say, I've got a bunch of friends, 50 and 60 years older than me, but I don't have a single one that's 20 years older than me. I don't know why.
Well, you've got one down in Mississippi that I go to White River with every year.
Oh, you can't beat him.
Morris Hardy.
Yes,
Isn't he a jewel?
He's as good as they come.
Yeah, and he thinks
He's
the world of Ed Bates. I can tell you that.
I do him too. And I met him through a dog.
Yeah. Oh, he's an English man. He like Randy Smith of Mississippi's a black and tan man,
Right?
And he keeps trying to get it, Morris, and then Nubbin Moore, my buddy. They keep trying to get Morris to get a black pup, and he does occasionally. But boy, he likes those English dogs.
Likes an English dog.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, the friendship that I've gathered up through the years means it all to me. It was worth the trip.
Absolutely. And now, how many years now have you been circling that sun?
83.
83. Well, God bless you, buddy, and I hope you have many, many more. And I want to be able to. I don't know whether we'll get together to interview you again, but I sure am looking forward to seeing you at Autumn Oaks and somewhere down the line for sure.
Hopefully we'll be there, both of us.
Yeah. And
Yes,
if
sir.
Scott's nearby there, he can hear it. I appreciate him so much too. Always a gentleman, always an upstanding, smiling, just the kind of people you love to meet. So I'm just really proud to have you on my podcast. And as far as I know, this will be the very last one. I couldn't finish up this project with any finer guest. So I want to thank you and Scott both, Ed, for coming on tonight.
Well, Steve, we really appreciate it. And I appreciate when I reached out to you there, because these, like you said, these podcasts are something that we'll have forever.
Absolutely.
And this is these dogs and this guy sitting here is part of the biggest part of my life. So
Sure.
I'm just tickled to death that you got us on, and we really appreciate all you've done and all the hard work you've put in and all the good things you've done, Steve. Really
I appreciate that, Scott. It's been a labor of love for sure. I'm not a preacher and don't try to be, but the Bible says we have this treasure in earthen vessels. These friends that we make, just like your dad said, that's the most important part about all this. The dogs
Absolutely.
are wonderful. All those strolls at nighttime looking up those trees is awesome. It's all a great, great sport, but it is the people that make it so great. All right, fellas, I just thank you so much once again. That's Ed Bates, his son Scott Bates.
We're honored, Steve.
Pardon?
We're honored to be on here.
Well, it's certainly my honor, Ed. And you guys have a good one. I'll look for more wins from the Dixie chick and more puppy reports on old Stud there.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, guys, you have a great night.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Well, folks, that's a little bit emotional here. Not so much about the ending of the podcast. It's something I've enjoyed very much, but just you see why that I did these podcasts down through the years is to be able to have these kinds of conversations with these kinds of people that have impacted our sport in such a way. I mean, Ed, back in the day when I was first I was running the hunts and wet behind the ears, and days before I went to UKC, Ed Bates was a marquee attraction at any major event. Hardtime Speck, Bates Blue Cash, Meeks John, all those dogs. And then to see his boy Scott, and I mean it, just an awesome fella to meet and to talk to. So anyway, I'm emotional as I put this podcast to bed. There may be another one that comes out somewhere down the line, something that I just feel like I've got to say publicly. But for the record, this is episode 350 for me, and I'm going to say it perhaps for the last time, but I want to thank all of you who took the time to listen not only to this podcast, but to all of those episodes down through the years. If you're looking for me, I may be slow, but I'll be going to the dogs.